Hello everybody, we've made it. We're officially here. We are at the end of the season. Super Bowl week, Sunday is almost upon us. And after that we're done with football. I mean, we'll have draft and then preseason and all that fun stuff. I'm very excited to see where Deshaun Watson ends up. Rooting for him and a couple other players. It'll be exciting, but for now, let's get on to the Super Bowl, and let's see what we got going for us. Recap of last week. 2-0 in predictions. I predicted the Patriots and the Falcons would win their games respectively. I was right. 1-1 against the spread. After my first attempt to try and I figured that the Falcons-Packers game would be closer. Both games ended up being blowouts, so 1-1. And both games went over, giving me a 2-0 in my over-under predictions. So, my playoff record is now 8-2. Last year I finished 8-3, so I'm hoping to get an improvement from there. And my overall record, regular season and playoffs, 162, 102, and 2. Because ties have to be a thing, apparently. Whatever. Don't care. Enjoyable. And one more game to add to the list. We'll see if it gets a W or the L. Let's break down the game. Super Bowl 51. The New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. You probably have all heard this by now. New England, this is going to be the 9th Super Bowl franchise appearance. 7th under Tom Brady. Tom Brady's appeared at 7 Super Bowls. Now, say what you want about Brady. I have my opinions that I will keep to myself. But you can't argue with how well the franchise has done under him. And is that partially because of Bill Belichick? Maybe. Is it partially because everyone else in the AFC kind of sucks for the most part? Maybe. There have been teams who have uprised and gotten their respective wins here and there to edge Brady. You know, Brady had his 2008 injury. And all in all, over his career, which I feel like will be over within the next year or two. Because he is getting relatively old. So we'll see. Interesting to see how he continues on. And see how the Patriots will do. I'm curious to see how they will do without him. I'm going to be curious. But nonetheless, Tom Brady has arguably cemented his fate, regardless whether a win or a loss here, as the greatest quarterback ever. You have your opinions, but hard to argue. Anywho, breaking down the season, Brady was suspended the first 4 games due to the Deflategate scandal. Team had to rely on backup quarterbacks Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo. And they were able to go 3-1 without them. Now, I was predicting 1 or 3 and 2-2. I figured Arizona would be better. Miami doesn't surprise me. Houston doesn't surprise me. Buffalo surprised me. I'm surprised they got to win in Buffalo. That Buffalo game. I'll be honest. Actually, I don't even remember my predictions, but that was that. Brady comes back, dominates the league, kind of like he usually does. 28-2. Best ratio, even though we can argue he didn't play the 16 games. Maybe had he played those 4 games, maybe he would have thrown another 1 or 2. I don't know. We may never know what would happen. Anywho, regardless, 28-2, threw a lot of yards, and now he's here. Guided his team to the 11-1 that he added, making his team 14-2, cementing the #1 seed. And Patriots might have been lucky, considering upstart Oakland got shut down due to a Derek Carr injury. Otherwise, the AFC Championship game may have been a whole different story. Nonetheless, we got that, and the Patriots rolled through the season, playoff games, simple, got a bye week, then they got Houston, which is practically a gift from the gods, which the Patriots didn't need because they probably could have beaten any team anyway. Then they got Pittsburgh, who upset KC, which apparently I'm the only one in my area who predicted Pittsburgh to beat KC. So, yada yada, boo boo hoo hoo. And now they're here, routed Houston, routed Pittsburgh. Now they're here in Super Bowl 51. Atlanta, on the other hand, they had a very interesting up and down season. You lose week 1 to your divisional rival, the Bucs, at home, so it's makes you wonder how the Bucs are, and makes you wonder how this team's going. A lot of people were talking about how Matt Ryan was practically the worst of the 4 quarterbacks in that division. I would argue he's above Winston already due to Winston's inexperiences. But nonetheless, there's that. And some people would argue he's better than Cam Newton. I will go ahead and disagree. After this season, maybe. Those two are up for debate, but whatever. Up and down season, winning some very interesting close games, like games against Denver, Green Bay. Arguably should have won that game in Seattle. No call. Refs these days, am I right? And Matt Ryan pulled up a lot of interesting wins. Their offense really showed how powerful they can be. They were like the #1 scoring offense, averaging 30 plus a game. There was like one game where they scored less than 23 points, and that was a loss to Philadelphia. And that makes you wonder. I know it's 11-5, but the games they've won and the games they lost. Let's look at some of the games they lost. Home versus the Bucks. Okay, week 1. They had a loss to San Diego. They had a loss to KC, which KC's pretty good, so I will let that slide. And then they lose in Philadelphia. And then they also had that loss to Seattle with no call. But those are their 5 losses. So it strikes me interesting. Sweep New Orleans, sweep Carolina, beat Green Bay, beat Denver, beat Oakland, who they were rising up power. And it was just... It strikes you interesting. It strikes curiosity out of you. It makes you wonder. But nonetheless, their route to the playoffs, submitting the 2 seed due to Seattle faltering in the final games. Detroit and Green Bay battling out, and Dallas just flying up high. Everyone had high expectations. Obviously, Dallas falters. Although, to be fair, though, you can't really call what happened to Dallas like them, quote-unquote, choking. Like, Aaron Rodgers just Aaron Rodgers it. And as much as we hate it, it happened. I'm not a Packers fan, as you may or may not know. But, nevertheless, Atlanta rooted Seattle. Like last time Matt Ryan won a playoff game, being in Seattle, in Atlanta. And then they battered Green Bay. Atlanta has put up over 35 points in both of their playoff games. And New England, I think, has done the same, but with less decent and difficult defenses. Which I guess is fair enough. Either way. And now they're in the Super Bowl. Atlanta and New England, both powerful offenses, and will be a shootout. That's why the over-under total right now is at 58. Because they're predicting high scoring. I predicted 2. But right now, New England is favored -3, and I'm still learning against the spread. I'm not entirely good at it, but I'm learning it, and I'm deciding whether or not maybe I'll do that for next year's predictions, if I do a series next year following predictions. But nonetheless, Super Bowl 51, Tom Brady versus Matt Ryan, the most favored matchup, Julio Jones versus Malcolm Butler. We'll see how that does it. Second and third receivers will be important for Atlanta. So will the running backs catching passes out of the backfield. New England, just do what you normally do. High-powered offense, make no mistakes. Defense, be really good, because apparently defenses are actually good against high-powered offenses in Super Bowls. What was it, 5-1? And the only time that the offense beat the defense was Joe Montana being Joe Montana. 55-10, I think. I think Denver against Denver was that one time they had the offense against the defense. Anywho, but that's Joe Montana, so hard to argue here. Now Brady here, he has a chance to win his 5th ring, like we said. Matt Ryan's looking for his first. The franchise is 0-1, losing to a John Elway-led team. But, it's interesting nonetheless. MVP up there, depending on who wins. And this is going to be a good game, my friends. It's going to be a good game. I hope you're all excited. Hope you all grab your snacks that you need, drinks, call some friends up, and get ready for a good game. Get ready for a good game. I'll throw in my predictions right now. I'm taking the Falcons. And I'll also take the +3 because, according to what I know against the spread, if you're taking the underdog team, then you're taking the plus automatically. Again, I tried asking. I didn't quite understand the answers people gave me. Sorry, guys. I tried. I still didn't quite understand it exactly. Whatever. I'll get it eventually. And the over 58. People are talking about how maybe this might not be as big of a shootout as some people may think. But the overs have been popular. I don't know about the wild card, but divisional round, and Conference Championship, 5-1 on the overs. Only one game went under, and that was KC and Pittsburgh. Other than that, every game has been over, so I like my chances. Because the Falcons have been high scoring and New England's been high scoring. Now, I believe the record for highest points scored in a Super Bowl is 75. Niners and Chargers, actually. Interesting. Chargers in the Super Bowl? Yeah, I know, right? I'm kidding, San Diego fans. Respect to you guys. Respect. But, I could see this game beating that record. I could. I really could. And that is it for me. Thank you all for a magical season of fun, happiness, and joy. I guess I can bring this up right now. In previous Super Bowl predictions, I'm 2-2. Because I've only been predicting Super Bowls since 47. I got the Ravens right. Go figure. And I got New England against Seattle right. I also picked Denver against Seattle. And I picked Carolina over Denver. I was wrong. But, so 2-2 in Super Bowl predictions. Go me. I'm hoping to go 3-2. It was one of those Super Bowls where, you know, in the end, I wouldn't be surprised if either team won. Because this is going to be a good game. And I'm hoping for a good game. Because the playoffs have been a lot of blowouts lately. And 50 wasn't as entertaining as a Super Bowl as we all thought it would be. So, we're going to hope that 51 bring us pure joy and happiness. And closure to a very interesting season. Thank you all for joining me. I am the Team After 112. Happy Super Bowl weekend. I will see you all in the next video of whatever I do. Goodbye.